Good morning. Good morning. Once again, this is the Talk Your Game podcast. It is early Tuesday morning. We have wrapped up week 4. It is early, but we promise you guys, we get you guys some stuff as quick as possible. We wrapped up last night with a 24-3 win for the Seahawks over the Giants and a very lackluster performance for the Giants and their fans. It was definitely not easy. I can imagine anyone that is a Giants fan did not have a fun time watching that game. But
Oh,
we are here to discuss that. We are here to discuss our power rankings, and then we will be discussing week 5 predictions in a very quick, short podcast. And I'll let you do. I mean, you watched the majority of that game last night. I didn't, so I'll let you do a quick little summary here, Sean.
well, yeah, it's quick and short today because also there was only one Monday night game. So we like that. We get to get a little
See how
sleep.
great that is?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Seahawks beat the Giants 24-3. We can talk about Seattle all we want, but really the story is the New York Giants and the utter collapse in that game. I'm not going to say collapse of a season, but it was just a collapse in that game.
Yeah.
Offensively, defensively, and for the love of God, special teams was just atrocious. Not just play wise, but just conduct wise. I know I sound like an old man and whatever, but they were getting in fights with people, just being overly aggressive and chippy, and that's okay to be as a team. And I expect that from like a Wink Martindale defense and whatnot, but just flag after flag after flag. It was annoying as a football fan because also it's not like the Seahawks were making it any better. They were being just as chippy, but eventually it came to a point in the second half where it was just the Giants getting in everyone's face.
Yeah.
I think a play that everyone is going to talk about is that Geno Smith tackle where he threw the ball, it got deflected, he caught it, and he started running out of bounds. And he gets tackled. It's a legal tackle, don't get me wrong, but the way he got tackled made it look like it was horse collar. And Gino clearly was not a fan of that. He had some words to say. He came back in the second half and finished the game, but I forgot who tackled him, but the player landed on his ankle, kind of like a horse collar tackle, and that's why the NFL banned the horse collar. It was not a horse collar tackle. I want to reiterate that. It just looked like one. It was legal. My only issue with that, and we were sitting there talking, I was talking with a Giants fan. I was like, look, man, he was running out. Just push him. You didn't have
Yeah.
to actually tackle him. I get it. You could have. It's caught in the heat of the moment, and he was in play, but you could have just pushed him and got just as much effectiveness out of it. Now, if you're deliberately going out there trying to hurt him, I don't know that. I'm not going to assume that. It just looked unnecessary in my opinion, and that kind of encapsulates the entire game for the Giants. Like everything was just unnecessary. Daniel Jones
Yeah.
throwing bad throws, holding on to the ball too long, the defense getting into people's faces, the special teams players just making boneheaded mistakes, like all of it just unnecessary, kind of piss poor coaching, which was surprising coming from a Brian Dable team that he won Coach of the Year so last year. That basically was the game. It wasn't like anyone was outshining anyone else, even on the Seahawks end. Like, sure, DK had a touchdown, 3 receptions, 34 yards. I mean, Kenneth Walker was probably the main story for the Seahawks. 17 carries, 79 yards, and 1 touchdown. Outside of that defense was monstrous. If anyone had a welcoming, Devin Weatherspoon. I mean, he was. I think he
Hello.
had like 9 tackles
Hello,
in the
sir.
first half. Yeah, nine
Yep.
tackles in the first half, and then he gets a pick 6 in the second half. You guys, or you have Weatherspoon and Tariq Woolen on one end. It's just 2 really good corners that I love seeing. That they're exciting to watch. So it was just the focus should be on the Giants, not on the Seahawks.
Yeah, no, I think the Seahawks put out a performance that they should be putting out. We're going to talk pretty heavily about the Giants and their downfalls. The one thing I'll give them a little bit of kudos for is that defense held as long as it could. Going
Yeah.
into almost the end of the third quarter, it was only 14-3. So if your defense can at least help you out that way, it's something, right? But we've talked about this with multiple teams this season. Your defense can only carry you so far. Your
Mm-hmm.
offense has to give something.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know New York, bright lights are all on you, right? Last week, we tore into Zach Wilson. So now we're going to go and tear into Daniel Jones. You're in New York, bright lights on you, shiny new contract. You have to deliver.
Yeah.
Throwing for literally just, 203 yards, and a lot of that's toward the end of the game. Going for, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble lost. You are the reason there's 3 turnovers from your team. Plain and simple. That can't happen. I know you don't have Barkley. It's fine. Saquon's not there. But hey, they are paying you for a reason, right? They're not paying Saquon for a reason too. They're paying you because they want to center the team around you, right? You got to do better. Whatever's going on with him and Dable, people are going to analyze the little bench conversation with the tablet being thrown. However they want to pretty that up, at the end of the day, it's frustration showed on the field last night. And I think that's Dable sitting there saying, this is not the football that I want you to play. We all know, like you said, he was coach of the year last year. And how did that happen? From them being defensively staunch, which they were, but then also being smart and not turning over. They weren't pretty to watch last year either, right? You and I scratched our heads millions of times, like, how are they what? I think they were 7-0 to start the year, or something crazy, right? Like that. It's because they were just being boring football-wise, but they were being fundamentally sound. That fundamentally sound team is not there right now, so they need to figure that part out. Yeah, like I said, Daniel Jones, you're on the hot seat now, man. Zach Wilson got himself off for a week, but now you're on it. You can't put up performances like that and expect to be praised or expect to be, well, it is what it is. It's a bad game. That was a horrible game. It was a god-awful game.
Yeah.
Anyone that watched that game that is a Giants fan, shout out to Awesome Say who watched it with us. Dude, I understand your frustrations. It sucks, man. It's not what you expect to see out of a team. And last night was another abysmal performance for Daniel Jones on a primetime game. I think he has one of the worst records primetime wise.
He's 1 in like 11 or something now. Yeah. I want to talk about really quickly the whole blow up on the sideline with Dable and Daniel Jones. I went back and forth about it. When I was watching the game, I had issues with it because I don't mind seeing a coach blow up like that. It was just Dable did it twice, and the third time was throwing the tablet. Shout out Microsoft. But it was just like at a certain point, like Dable can't just be yelling at Daniel Jones either. You got Andrew Thomas who's out. Your starting center got hurt in the game. You're not putting him in good situations himself, right? So you can be mad at Daniel Jones all you want and get pissed off about execution, but you didn't help him out in any certain way. Like you have Darren Waller, you got him going late in the game, and you can blame Daniel Jones for that all you want, but the guy barely had time to throw in general. He was like running for his life at certain points. But overall, like on top of that, like overall encompassing for the Giants, like what did you guys do this offseason? You guys didn't really bring in a wide receiver to help out Daniel Jones either. You have a whole bunch of wide receiver twos with like Wan'Dale Robinson, Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell. You draft Jalen Hyatt, who everyone knew was a speedster. There's no actual target for Daniel Jones to feel comfortable throwing with outside of Darren Waller, and teams know that. So, yeah, we can get mad at Daniel Jones all we want, and I agree we should be. But the Giants fans need to also look at the other side of the script and be like, hey, front office, organization, what are you guys doing? Head coach, what are you guys doing? Put some guys around this guy so he feels a little bit more comfortable as well. I'm not saying go and make the DeAndre Hopkins trade or something like that, but you could have got a receiver that is a little bit better than anyone on this roster right now, to be honest. Like if you really thought Isaiah Hodgins' year was going to go up this year from last year, no. Exactly. Yeah. So it's frustrating for me as a football fan to see that and then see a guy get berated by his head coach, where Daniel Jones is just off the field. He's a great guy. And I feel bad for him on that aspect because it's like, dude, you're getting your ass chewed out on national television because of your play, but also it's not all solely because of you. People want to point it that way because you got the contract. And that's fine, but also your team's not helping you out. So it's just the Giants are in a weird spot. I think everyone should have fingers to blame, including the defense. No matter how hard they tried, there was plays that they missed there. Again, undisciplined. That's how I feel about the Giants. It's just a big shit show.
Question mark.
Yeah.
That's probably better. I was trying to be. I had enough of my profanity last episode, so I'm trying to bring it back to the kids.
I'm sorry. I was trying to keep it in, but it's just bad football pisses me off.
It happens. It happens. Yeah. Well, hey, that wraps up Monday Night Football. Before we get into the power rankings, and I'm so sorry, we never rehearsed this before. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Okay. This is new.
Moving forward, we're going to go ahead and start bringing on some guest speakers, if you want to call them that, right? Some guest fans is probably the best way I can describe it. For a long time, Shahan and I have been talking our game on the podcast. We're going to finally back it up and have someone else come in and talk their game. I'm just going to go ahead and dub it the State of Your Fanhood segment. So this week, we are going to go ahead and pull in our good friend Asim Sayed. He is a Giants fan. So we will ask him, we're going to drop that video probably later on in the week. It's just a quick little segment. Ask him little questions about the Giants, how he feels. And then, I mean, you guys love it when we rant about our teams. It's we're going to give someone else a chance to rant as well. So look forward to that. If you want to be on the State of the Fanhood segment, we're going to go and post a clip of this. Let us know if you want to join. We probably know what your team is, but if we don't know you. Let us know, and we'll bring you on one week. It's just a quick little 10-minute get online with us. We'll talk football, and I would love to see a perspective that's not a Bengals or a Cowboys. I know we talk too much about our team, so I'd love to. Granted, I'll hear Cowboys perspectives all day too, but there's a lot of people we talk football with. We want to hear your game now, so look forward to that. It's coming out soon.
Ooh, I like that. We want to hear your game now.
Yeah, see that? I'm just dropping lines here. Last week was, you're a nice guy, but you're not him. I'm throwing out some...
You're not the guy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm throwing out some lines. All right. Bars. So now we got that over the way, we're going to go ahead and move into our weekly power rankings. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yes. I will... You know what? I'll let you go every week, but I'll go ahead and start it off. Once again, for anyone who doesn't pay attention, my rankings are very everywhere. It's week to week. There's no consistency to it.
It's how Kev feels.
Yeah, it's how I feel. And Shahan is based on statistics, based on actual thinking and being a fan.
I have no feelings.
Yeah, he's a robot. So I'll go ahead and break mine down. Starting off, honestly, we're getting to a point in the season. It's still early, but there are some powerhouse teams already developing, right? It's kind of hard to throw in a random team without being crucified for it. So I'll be accurate again. But the order that I have it may be a little bit different than other people. I'll start off with 5. Number 5, I have as the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh.
Super Bowl champions, 3-1, can't hate on it. I just don't know how they stack up to the teams that are above them right now. But definitely still in the top 5. Number 4, and I think this is probably where people will going back and forth with me. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Consistent performances, but not consistently great performances. But consistency is key, and so is winning. So Philadelphia at 4. Moving down in my rankings from last week, at number 3, I have the Miami Dolphins. I think there was some truths that were exposed for them. Yeah. I think there were some hard realities they had to see, and losing to Buffalo in the way they did. Don't get me wrong, this is definitely a learning moment for them, but I can't justify them being in the number 1 position after that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving on to my number 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers. I think they are a consistent team. I think there's nothing you can say negatively about them. Week in and week out, we kind of say the same thing. We just don't know about Brock Purdy, but every single week he just does what he does. So for the sake of them being a good team, a consistent team, and undefeated, they're at number 2, only to be outshined by my number 1 team. You beat the number 1 team in the way you did from last week. That's going to be the Buffalo Bills. They put on a show. They put out a complete performance all around. I think they are the most complete team after last week. I think week 1 was just kind of a fluke, and the emotions of the Jets and all that. I don't know. It's week 1. But they have proven since then that slow start is not going to be replicated again. Buffalo Bills, number 1.
Respect. So
Okay.
can you just quickly read yours again?
Yep.
I lost track.
Bills number 1, 49ers number 2, Miami number 3, Eagles number 4, and the Chiefs number 5.
Okay. We're not too far off. We're not.
Okay.
I am going to give you some work though, because guess what? We're going to have some ties on mine. So
You know how hard it is to make these info. Okay. All right, let's go.
it's a lot, dude. So I'll start it off at 5, and it's like a 3-way tie. It's Dallas.
There's only so much. All right, go. Let's go. Fine.
It's Dallas, Baltimore,
Wow.
and Miami.
What?
Yes.
What?
I'm putting Baltimore in there. Yes.
At number 1?
No, 5. This is a 3-way tie at 5.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh
Yeah.
my, I'm so sorry. Okay.
No, you're
Yes.
good.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and for all 3 of those teams, really quickly, you questioned Baltimore. Baltimore is winning games. I get the question mark loss to, I believe I forgot what team it was in the OT game.
Indianapolis.
Thank you. I get that. That was a weird game for the Ravens, but they're in the same boat as like the Cowboys and stuff like that. Like they're winning games somehow, like the Eagles are, but they're not like surprising anyone. But they're 3-1. They're high powered at certain points. So the reason I have them in my power rankings though is because they've been doing this with so many injuries, and once they start getting guys back, I don't know what happened in the waters this year, just like last year, but injuries derailed this team. But it seems like they can start getting guys back as the season progresses. And if no other further injuries happen, then I feel a little bit better about Baltimore. But they're scraping at the bottom of 5 for me. The other team I gave you was Dallas at 5, correct?
Yep. And Miami.
Dallas. Yeah, Dallas. It's just how I've been talking about them. I don't have to go too far into detail. Defense, I think the true test for Dallas is going to be this week against San Francisco. So that'll definitely change. But red zone offense is always going to be a struggle. So that's why they're at 5. And then Miami. Miami dropped back down to grace, if you want to say, riding the high of the beating the Broncos with the 70 points, but losing to your division rivals and not putting up a decent amount of fight. It felt like the first half you guys did great, Miami, but second half just completely collapsed, in my opinion. It was like 48-20, I believe that was the score. That was not a way to lose. I would have been okay if you guys lost by a field goal, but to kind of just, yeah, it wasn't a great way to lose. So Miami dropped down in our gracious to 5. So that's the 3-way tie at 5.
Okay.
I debated back and forth in my mind about this, but I'm going to put Philly at 4. And the only reason being, I get it, Philly's 4-0, but if you watch the Philly games, they're literally scraping by getting these wins. It's weird. Their differential is only like plus 28, which I know that sounds great, but on the flip side, if you want to hear the pluses for the other teams, the Cowboys are plus 83. The Niners are plus 67. So it's like the Eagles are winning, but they're not dominating games. They're literally letting teams in there. They had the Commanders take them to overtime, which the Ravens stomped the Commanders, or the Bills stomped the Commanders earlier this year. So Philly is at 4, but some shakiness there. I'm going to put Kansas City at 3. Kansas City is Super Bowl champs. I just feel strongly about just the way Andy Reid head coaches his team. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have Chris Jones back on defense. I just feel like the slow start is okay for the Chiefs as long as you see the slow start to progress. I got an email, sorry. As soon as you see the slow start to progress for the Chiefs, I think that'll be okay. It really, really depends on if we see a classic Chiefs game, just them dominating, like how we saw them against Chicago, where we felt a little bit better there. Number 2 on my list, the San Francisco 49ers. And it goes back to same thing you said. Brock Purdy's getting the job done. I'm not the biggest Brock Purdy fan, but hey, you're getting the job done, and that's all that matters. The Niners defense is the Niners defense, and excuse me, Christian McCaffrey is on the MVP pace as of right now, in my opinion. So, if a team can figure out how to stop the Niners at one of those things, either scoring on them on the offensive end and making that defense work for it, or if you can stop Christian McCaffrey and somewhat hold Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo, kudos. But the Niners are a powerhouse, and they are also a powerhouse that's like a one card away from, like, injury away from not being a powerhouse. They're like really shaky that way, depth. But they're at number 2. And we agree the Buffalo Bills are at number 1. The Buffalo Bills had the first loss of the season to the Jets as their season opener. After that, they have been on a tear. They are playing some of the best football offensively I've seen from Buffalo. Josh Allen is not making those boneheaded mistakes. And I think he said it this week or last week. He was like, I have to play boring football to win. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to take the dinks and dunks and just the short yardage and check downs to win a game. And he realized that. And that was my frustration last year with Josh Allen was, dude, you don't always have to heave it down the field. He kept throwing picks like that or, dumb plays. If Josh Allen plays like this, A, I think Josh Allen could be MVP. B, I think that the Bills can go really, really far. Like we've seen him go to the AFC Championship game, but I think they could make it to the Super Bowl if Josh Allen plays like this. And then on top of that, Tre'Davious White goes down, but it's a weird blessing. I wouldn't say blessing. Sorry, that's messed up to say. But what I meant to say is that it's not doomsday for the Bills fans on defense, because you get Von Miller coming back hopefully this week or next week, and so that just bolsters the defense back up. Greg Rousseau is having a great year. I like what the Bills are doing. Jordan Poyer is going to come back. They're looking strong.
We'll see.
Yeah,
this is something we've talked about 2 seasons in a row, the Buffalo Bills, and something happens 3/4 of the way in. So
it does, and
similar story. I'm buying it for now, but I am cautiously optimistic or cautiously pessimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're cautious.
Okay, cool. I'm cautious.
You're cautious.
Dangerous. All right. So that wraps up our power rankings. Once again for Sean, he has the Bills at number 1, San Francisco at number 2, Kansas City at number 3, Eagles at number 4, and not abiding to the rules, having a 3-way tie at number 5 with Dallas, Baltimore, and Miami.
That's not true. You didn't abide by the rules. You brought in the ties, and I just took it to a different level.
Okay. I broke a rule. Sorry. I twisted a rule. You broke the wheel. Anyone that watches Game of Thrones.
Shame.
It's messed up. I'll figure it out. All right, moving on to week 5 predictions. We're going to make this a quick fire one because we are running out of time quickly. So we'll just go and get it started. This week, only one Thursday night game, only one Monday night game, and one game in England. So here we go. Thursday night, we have a matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders.
Give me the Commanders.
I have the Commanders as well. I actually think that last week with the Chicago Bears, that may be the dagger in the heart that just shatters them completely.
God.
And don't see a recovery point.
I told.
All right,
Bears
moving
fans.
on to a early but very fun game, which is, anyone that complains about international games not being the best matchups, here is something that's going to hopefully change your mind. We have Jacksonville, who gets to stay in London for 2 weeks. We'll talk about that someday.
Next week.
Going up against the Buffalo Bills at 9:30 a.m.
Give me the Bills.
Can't argue that. I got the Bills as well. Moving on to the afternoon slates or the early slates, we got Houston heading over to Atlanta.
Give me my boy CJ Stroud.
Oh, you're gonna ride with CJ. Wow, we are in agreement here. I'm gonna go with Houston as well. Moving on to the Panthers heading over to the Lions.
The Lions. I don't know why I thought about that.
God dang it. We are once again tied up. I have the Lions as well, but I think, believe it or not, I think every single game I'm probably going to. I don't know why. But the
A lot
Lions
of
it
you guys
is.
like the Lions, which is cool. I mean, I don't feel the
Yeah.
same way, but I don't hate them.
All right. We have the Titans going over to Indianapolis.
Division game, man. I really want to root for Anthony Richardson, but Tennessee looked pretty good, so I'll go with Tennessee.
All right. Finally, we have a disagreement. I have Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Not to say that Tennessee's win wasn't impressive. It was. But whatever. I'm riding with Anthony Richardson. Okay. Giants are heading over to Miami.
Miami.
I'm just going to go ahead and put it. I already know. Yeah. Miami it is. All right. Let's see. We have the Saints heading over to the Patriots.
The Battle of the New Orleans and New England.
News.
I can't trust any quarterback in New England right now. Give me the Saints.
I think you and I are thinking very similar here. After last week's performance, I don't know where they stand. Man. So
yeah,
the Saints it is. All right, a divisional matchup. We have the Ravens heading over to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Tough matchup. I think TJ Watt will give Baltimore its fits, but give me Baltimore. Don't know what that means.
Yeah, I think with the uncertainty with pick, I don't think realistically he'll probably play. They're saying that it's going to be minimum, but with that condition, it has to be Baltimore for me.
Yeah.
And moving on to the afternoon slate, first one we have is the Bengals heading over to the Arizona Cardinals. In the game that early on in the season would have been an easy pick, but no longer.
I really want to pick the Cardinals, but I can't root against the Bengals. But you know what? I'm just going to pick the Cardinals. This is nothing against me hating the Bengals. Cardinals
can't even blame you at this point.
Yeah.
I cannot. 3 weeks ago, I would have told you there's no way, but what they've done the last 2 weeks is impressive, but loyalty dies where I go. That's going to be the Bengals for me.
Of course. Respect.
All right. Games I find interesting. I think this will be the one that Philadelphia maybe has a little bit of fits on. Philly. Philly's heading over to the West Coast and playing the LA Rams, but it may be a home game for them because the Rams can never hold a home game and not give up seats.
I don't know why SoFi is like that. Give me Philly, but I think the Rams will give them fits, but give me Philly.
All right. I have Philly as well in this game. Moving on to a toilet-ish bowl, we have the Jets heading over to Denver. Denver getting 2 weeks in a row of toilet bowls, but hey, if toilet bowls is what you need to win games, I wouldn't complain.
I'm going with Denver. As much as people want to make fun of Russell Wilson last year, he's having a really good year. Really good year.
Oh, the Battle of the Wilsons is also another. I actually have, after this past week, I hope they can actually ride on this momentum. I'm running with the Jets.
I respect it.
Let's see if they can translate 2 weeks in a row.
That'd be cool.
If they do, that's progress. And that's something that they probably really deserve. All right. We have the Chiefs and Minnesota. So possibly a game that Shazla may join.
Ooh. Scary against going against Justin Jefferson. Give me the Chiefs. Yeah, give me the Chiefs.
Chiefs. Okay. Yeah, Minnesota's so inconsistent, man. It's just hard to.
It's the same thing.
It's hard to stick with them. So yeah, Kansas City. But that environment in Minnesota, if it gets loud, watch for that to be, something fun, especially later on if it's close.
I hate that stupid horn.
All right, and easily, it's their culture, dude. All right, don't be so progressively not cool.
I get it. I shouldn't say I hate it, but it's just every time they play it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Sorry.
God, stop being so conservative, dude.
Oh man.
The funny part is we both are conservatives. Moving on. We don't get political on this podcast. Easily the game of the week and possibly the game of the season so far, honestly. We have the Dallas Cowboys heading off and playing the San Francisco 49ers. Possible rematch later on in the season for NFC Championship? I can say that.
Rematch of last year's playoffs. Give me my Dallas Cowboys. There's a plane going over me right now, but give me the Dallas Cowboys.
I hear that. We are sponsored by Southwest today.
Yeah, American. I feel really confident about the boys. I think we're going to give Brock Purdy a run for his money with this defense. I don't want to get too far into it, but red zone is the key here. And something tells me that we're going to figure out some red zone offense, hopefully, this game.
Okay. I think this is one where I had to weigh the back and forth. Obviously, being in Dallas, that causes me, I shouldn't say cause, I have grown a slight affection toward the Cowboys. But in this case, I'm sorry, but I'm going to actually have to ride with the 49ers. I think it's going to be a close matchup. I think the difference comes, it's going to be a night game in San Francisco, in that environment.
That's what
for some reason these guys are just built for prime time, right?
Yeah.
And here's the key. And I know we say we have to get through this quick, but here's the key for Dallas. You keep this game close, or you ride with them, right? Or you play with your defense, or whatever you have to do to make sure this game is either close or you have a lead heading into the second half of the fourth quarter. That is the key.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, I think there's a possibility of winning there. Or the second key to that game is you limit Christian McCaffrey. You clog up the middle. Yeah. Brock Purdy does not throw the ball deep. If he does, it's because it's the second half. They've been running the ball all over you. It's play action. It's a gimme pass. We've talked about it all season. He gets all these gimme passes all the time. Clog up the middle. Make it dirty for him.
Yeah.
And then, just like I've criticized Tua before, let's see how Brock Purdy really plays. We'll know exactly what kind of quarterback he is when he can't make his short little reads, or he can't rely on the play action and CMC being able to get him some easy throws. So
I agree.
Let's see. If there's one defensive coordinator, it's Dan Quinn that I would trust. So
it won't be easy. They have a good offensive line, but if you get pressure on Purdy, the deepest he throws are like deep in routes to like Kittle or Debo or Ayuk. He doesn't really throw on the outside, so you can pressure Purdy. You can get yourself in the ball game, and like you said, if it's close, you're right there, Dallas.
Yeah.
But yes, it's the worrisome for me is primetime San Francisco. I don't want Dallas to just collapse on primetime and just everyone run dandy and have a field day in media with it. So anyway, I still got Dallas.
Dallas it is. All right. And then we're going to wrap up this week with our Monday night matchup. We have the Green Bay Packers heading over to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Give me Green Bay. For Vegas fans, I don't know if we have any Raiders fans listening, but I really want to see Aiden O'Connell. I know he didn't have the greatest start to his rookie year or his first start to his career against the Chargers last week, but he's fun to watch. I like watching fun quarterbacks. But give me Green Bay. Really big fan.
He took some nasty hits and he got introduced to the NFL real quick, but dude had grit toward the end of the game. That game wasn't supposed to be anywhere being close, but the dude had grit, so I'll give him that. I just with Rashawn Gary and with Jordan Love and just them being consistent, I have Green Bay as well. I just don't see Las Vegas making over this game, but it's a primetime game, so who knows? We've seen crazier things happen.
Absolutely, Green Bay's shown some grit too. They almost came back in that Detroit game this past Thursday. So I like what's happening in Green Bay. So bye weeks really quickly: Cleveland, Chargers, Seahawks, Tampa Bay. Week 4 bye weeks. Week 5 bye weeks. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't mention this to start. Last week, Sean ended very well, 12-4.
Oh, wow.
I came right behind him at 11-5 for the season. Anyone that likes to pay attention to this, Shahan is 31-17, so he's doing great. I am a little bit behind him at 27-21. So we are above 500, both of us. We are predicting very well this season. So let's see if that continues. But that's where we are for this week.
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the Talk Your Game podcast. Talk your game about your team in the comments below. Stay tuned later on this week. We'll have our resident Giants fan. And like Kev had mentioned early on in the episode, if anyone else would like to join and talk about their teams, I know there's some Bears fans, some Texans fans, some Giants fans out there that listen to us. Any other guys that want to join out there or girls want to join out there and join us and talk your game, please do. We would love to. We love talking football. This is what we do. We love it. We love you guys. See you guys later.
Cheers.